Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. In this episode, guess who's back? Max Payne. That's right. Remedy is remaking Max Payne 1 and 2, but in a slightly different way. So, Max Payne is owned by Rockstar now. They bought it a while back, and that's where Max Payne 3 came out and was published and created by Rockstar. But Max Payne 1 and 2 were originally a Remedy property. And so they have struck a deal with Rockstar to basically remake Max Payne 1 and 2. But it's a little bit different than just remaking the two games. It's actually, from what they say, is it's basically going to be one big remake encompassing both of the Max Payne titles, 1 and 2. So like a big game that basically combines both Max Payne 1 and 2 into one remake of those two games into one game, basically, is what it kind of sounds like to me, from what they're saying. So they're basically saying Remedy is going to make one big remake encompassing both classic Max Payne titles. It'll be coming out on all next gen, so no regular gen here. This is all PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. And it will utilize its Northlight game engine. Okay. Rockstar is basically fitting the bill for this because they got into agreement where, and they basically which will be budgeted to be in line with a typical Remedy AAA game production. Remedy will collect royalties on the game after Rockstar has recouped its funding from development and publishing. Right now, there's no release window for the project, but that sounds pretty awesome to me. So let's switch over to Patrick. Patrick, what do you think of Max Payne making a comeback?
It's Remedy. They make some pretty good stuff. I mean, obviously they made the original 1 and 2, right? And then Rockstar got a hold of 3, and then it just, that's where it stuck. So I'm looking forward to it. I never got too heavily into the original first two. I did play them and thought they were cool games, but by the time I got into them, they were long in the tooth, and I was not quite ready to look at something that's 15 years old when I picked them up. So a little bit. So I would like to see the remaster that they're going to do. And I like that, or the remake, I guess I should say. It's not a remaster. I am happy to hear that it's a remake and not just a polish and remaster. It's kind of an interesting deal that Rockstar is going to front the whole bill for the production, and they'll just basically, which means they have faith that Remedy's going to make a good game, right? Because they're like, we're going to upfront all the costs, and then you guys can start getting royalties once we recouped all of our money. So Remedy has faith that they're going to make a great game and that people are going to want to buy it, because Max Payne was a good game. It was a great game. Most people would agree that played it. It was one of the originators of bullet time and all that kind of stuff, so people are going to bound to jump on that, especially since Remedy's making it again. I'm not the biggest Remedy fan out there. I know Nick loves a lot more of the stuff that they make, like Quantum Break, and I think Nick gushes over Control every time they come out with a DLC or something. And to me, Control was just okay, and Quantum Break was just okay. I was more interested in like the Alan Wake stuff, which their recent Alan Wake remaster they put out was pretty good. And it was just a remaster, but they are working on aren't they working on a new Alan Wake 2, I think, as well? And so they've got a couple of irons in the fire, from what I understand. They're probably ready to put this Crossfire debacle behind them right now, because that didn't do so hot as they were hoping here in North America that it has everywhere else, but over here that game just will not catch fire. I don't think it's that great, but I'm definitely ready for some Max Payne love and to get back into that. And I would like to see that game brought back and reimagined with current gen technology and everything current, right? Current graphics, current control schemes, everything. So we can't beat that. You can't. Max Payne, come on. Everybody loves Max Payne. Let's just, it's going to be a good shooter, story game, detective game, however they decide to put it out, and Rockstar and Remedy have enough faith in it to have an agreement like this. Like, that's an insane agreement. I mean, I understand publishers front a lot of money for marketing and stuff like that normally, but to say we're going to cover your production costs or development costs, and we'll get first dollar until we've recouped everything, it seems unusual to me. Maybe it's not as unusual as I'm thinking, but Remedy seems to have a lot of irons in the fire right now, so it'll be interesting to see how quickly they can pull something like this off. Obviously, there's no dates, no nothing. It's just an idea in somebody's head right now, is the way it sounds, because they're making some game with Tencent that nobody knows about, that they're calling Vanguard, and then Nick's probably foaming at the mouth for this multiplayer spin-off of Control that they've been talking about for a little bit now. I mean, multiplayer, do they mean PvP or do they mean co-op is what I want to know. So I liked what I played of the Max Payne, but like I said, it's too old for me to the graphics. So Nick, did you play the original Max Paynes, and did you thoroughly enjoy those as much as you would say like their newer titles, the Quantum Break and Control, even, because I know Control's up there for you?
Yeah, I did. Max Payne was the first Remedy game that I'd played, and the first game I'd played on PC that really just because at the time when it came out, it was like revolutionary, right, in graphics and like controls and stuff like that, and just the bullet time and everything. It was stuff we'd never seen before, so it blew my mind, and I loved that game. And then so I was so hyped for Max Payne 2, which I also love. And then Max Payne 3 is a good game. It's not Remedy, it's Rockstar, but they did a really good job with it. But yeah, I'm a big Remedy fan. I love Remedy games. I mean, I couldn't tell you, if you told me like which Remedy game should I play, I'd probably say any of them. They're all great. Except for maybe Crossfire. That one's apparently not very good. The single player campaign, they did some stuff did the single player campaign, which it may be better than the multiplayer. I didn't really care much for the multiplayer in Crossfire, so that just kind of threw me away from not even wanting to try out the single player, even though it's Remedy. I like more of Remedy's. I think Remedy does a really good job when they're doing their own IPs, right? When they're doing their own properties and not necessarily like Crossfire is not their own, right? They're just doing something for a different developer. And so when they do their own stuff like Control or like Quantum Break or Max Payne or Alan Wake, like it just comes out great. I mean, I love Alan Wake. Alan Wake's one of my most favorite games, and Alan Wake 2, I'm so finally they're making Alan Wake 2. I'm so excited. I love the first one. I love Quantum Break. The Quantum Break had its faults in some areas, but I think overall it was a really great game, and I like the tie-in with the movie stuff with it, or like the TV show type stuff with it. And Control, yeah, I know they're doing some sort of multiplayer thing with Control. I don't know. I love the single player aspect of Control. If it is a co-op thing, that would be really cool. If it's more of like a PvP thing, that may not be really up my alley. So we'll have to see what that ends up being. But I love Remedy, and this sounds really cool. Yeah, it is a little unusual. I'm surprised Rockstar would do something like this. But, Remedy, in my eyes anyway, I think Remedy fairly brings out fairly good games that do fairly well, right? And they have a following, right? I mean, I'm part of that following, but they do have a following of people that just love their games, and I'm one of them, right? And that following is pretty large. There's a large group of people, of gamers, that love Remedy games. So I think this is a no-brainer. Max Payne hasn't been around for a long time. Like Max Payne 3 came out in 2012 or something like that. So or maybe even before that, I'm not sure. But everyone would love to see Max Payne again. And these are remakes of one. And it sounds like to me that they're basically remaking 1 and 2 and combining them into one big game that encompasses both games into one. So that is really awesome. I love the Max Payne story, and Max Payne himself, and he talks to himself in that kind of detective inner monologue type voice, and it's just fantastic. It's a great like a noir type style game, detective noir type game, and I love Max Payne, so it's always been one of my favorite ones. So I'm so happy to see it come back, because I wasn't sure if Rockstar was going to do anything with Max Payne, right? They've been sitting on Max Payne since 3 for quite a while, and it's like they're just so into, and I don't think they were going to do anything with it, right? Because Remedy comes in and says, hey, let's do this, and they're like, sure, greenlight it, because they're so busy with GTA Plus and GTA Online that they don't want to make anything else, right? And that's just pouring all the money in for them, so they don't give a crap about any other IPs that they might have. They tried to do the same thing with Red Dead Redemption Online, which that's still going, but it didn't have quite the punch that GTA Online has, and so they just seem to be all about that instead of anything else that they could be making, like another Bully or Midnight Club or something like that. I mean, come on, Rockstar, you got other properties. Let's start making other games.
You don't need to when the cash cows keep pumping out milk quicker than you can drink it. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not the hugest Remedy fan out there. A lot of their stuff is kind of is not bad. I'm not nothing that I've played from them. But I will admit that I didn't play Crossfire. Looking at it and watching the trailers, I'm like, this is not for me. So I didn't play that one. But even some of their older stuff when they worked with Microsoft and stuff like that, and then when they did Death Rally. I should say all of their normal games. I didn't play any of their like mobile games or iOS stuff that they put out, but I played Quantum Break and Control and Alan Wake. I will say I did not play the original Alan Wake. I played the remaster, so I got I don't have anywhere to stand on those Alan Wake games. I always heard they were really good. That's why I had to play the remaster. And then Death Rally, that's super old. I guess super old if you consider the 90s old, but it was a while ago, right? We are now.
It is nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, in 4 more years, we're going to be calling that game 30 years old or something like that. So, that is kind of old. But they don't put out a whole lot of games. I think they put out about a game every other year on average, I think and then I think they've been every year here recently with when they did Alan Wake and then Crossfire, and then supposedly next year we're going to get Alan Wake 2 TBD in 2023. So I mean, we'll see about that. And then I have no clue when the Control multiplayer is coming out, and obviously these Max Payne titles are many years down the road, 2 to 3 at minimum. And then whatever this Vanguard game is going to be that's coming out with Tencent. So I mean, I'm stoked to see it. I really want to play it. I don't know how they're going to put a new fresh spin on bullet time. I mean, that's been beat to death already by many other people who copied them. And you know what they say, that's the best form of flattery, right? Is mimicry. And everybody had their own bullet time after that. So what do we expect? I expect a good game. Hopefully Remedy's not resting on the laurels of this game and just be like, we're going to remake it in today's generational technology and not put a fresh new spin on it. I hope they do put a fresh new spin on it, or else it's just going to be like, okay, this is cool, but I remember playing this game. It's just new and updated. But like I said, I didn't play much of them, so it will all be new to me regardless. But bullet time is bullet time.
That's true. And bullet time is a staple of Max Payne, so they can't completely get rid of it. But they have to definitely, they'll definitely have to do something with it. But I have faith in Remedy that they'll make something that's probably somewhat closely ties to Max Payne as we remember, but still being uniquely different, that you're like, okay, this is almost like a brand new game, right? But we're retelling the same story as Max Payne 1 and 2, right? So yeah, I mean, not to say Remedy can't do no wrong. I'm not that like, oh, Remedy, worshipping there. I do love the company, and I think they make bangers for me most of the time. But there are sometimes they make stinkers. So, they got their good and their bads. But most of the time, I'd say for me, like 90% of their games I love. Right. So, yeah, hopefully they don't go the route of also like trying to do too much at once. Right. Trying to do too many projects, because usually you're right. They usually bring out, and from what we hear, right, who knows how many projects they have in the pipeline, but from what we hear is usually when they're working on a game like Quantum Break or something, or Control, that's the only thing they're working on, right? Like that's the only game, like they have some that they're thinking about, but the game they're actually currently active on is Quantum Break, or was Control, or whatever. We usually don't hear about these games kind of really overlapping much as far as development time goes. So right now they do have a lot of different projects in the pipeline, so we'll see how they are able to manage all that and still come out with a quality game.
Right. Yep. I'd like to see a really good detective game be the focus of the Max Payne series. The whole inner monologue and being a detective and running around and looking at scenes and solving crimes and stuff like that, with the combat being maybe the secondary aspect of the game. But we'll see what happens. I mean, Remedy makes good stuff. Nobody can deny that. So we just got to give them the time to make it and see what they put out and see if it'll be worthwhile. It sounds like a really good deal, right? They're going to put together Max Payne and Max Payne 2 together, it sounds like, in the press release. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking, but the press release does make it sound like it's going to be a AAA budget of both games getting remastered and then put together in a re-release. Hopefully we don't get the Rockstar special of GTA trilogy remastered. So
yeah, well, those were remasters. Luckily, this is a remake, so
Right.
that's the good thing about it.
Right. Yep. So I'm looking forward to it. As anything, it's the waiting game at this point now, and make sure it doesn't get canceled or shelved or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, it'll be quite a few years before we see this. I would say we're looking at a 2024, 2025, release window for this. So this is all fairly new stuff, but it is exciting stuff, and hopefully nothing happens to it. Hopefully they continue that and we see these games come out. One thing about Remedy is they're typically not real quick on releasing their titles. Like when they start working on them, usually I'm surprised Alan Wake is coming out as quick as it did or is next year. But I think I have a stinking suspicion that they've probably been working on this for quite a while. Unlike other companies, they typically don't talk about their games until it gets a little bit closer to time. Like a year off or so before they start talking about something that they're making, which is good because we don't. I hate when game developers say, "Hey, we're working on X, Y, or Z," and then like it doesn't come out for, Good
and Evil 2.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good exactly. Like don't show us stuff. Basically, I mean, it's fine if you want to say you're working on something or something's in development, I guess, but don't show us like a snippet or trailer or something and be like, look at all this, and then when's that coming out? We don't know. So
yeah, I just hope they don't give it
better at it.
I just hope they don't give it the Quantum Break treatment. Well, that was an interesting concept. I'm not a huge fan of that. Show mimicking video game mimicking show thing, because I mean, they could easily try to go the route and follow the movies. Next thing we know, it's going to be they're going to put Mark Wahlberg in the video game and it's his voice and everything.
Hopefully not. I'm hoping they get the Max Payne's original or his voice actor to do it. Yeah. And don't relate it to the movie at all. Really. Just let's keep it at the game. And yeah, I mean, Quantum Break was a cool idea as far as that, TV show game kind of mixture they did there. That's a cool idea. But yeah, I mean, that had to be really expensive for them, I'm sure. And it's one of those I feel like it's one of those like once in a lifetime types of game being made, right? You don't want to make every game like that. Maybe just like, when you just kind of have that idea and want to do something like that, cool. But let's not attach that to every game you make. So anything else you want to say about this before we wrap it up? All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video and down in the comments below, let us know what you think. Are you excited for a new Max Payne? Are you excited that Remedy is going to be working on the new Max Payne? It's not going to be Rockstar. It's going to be Remedy doing it. The original creators of Max Payne are going to be making this collaborative, this bubble of Max Payne 1 and 2 that are remade. So let us know what you think down below. But thanks again for watching. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with new videos that we do all the time. And we'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.